Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you a video today to answer all of the frequently asked questions about the Nike Magista Obra, a shoe that to most people is still a mystery boot. So in today's video, I'm going to solve all of those mysteries for you, and with that being said, let's get right into the video. Are they difficult to put on and take off? In comparison to a standard low-cut pair of soccer cleats, there definitely is some extra challenge putting on and taking off the Magista Obra, but that challenge isn't so extreme to the point where I would say that it becomes an inconvenience to put these on and take them off. So I'm going to show you what it looks like to actually put them on and take them off. What I like to do is I kind of open up the little collar area here, stick my foot inside, grab it from the back, and then just pull my foot inside, and you can see that's pretty painless, pretty easy. A little bit, like I said, a little bit more difficult than a standard pair of shoes, but nothing too extreme. And as far as taking them off is concerned, I just kind of stick my thumb in there and pull them off my heel, and it's just that easy. How difficult are they to clean, and do they get dirty fast? Alright, here's a look at the Obras that I've been using for testing. Please keep in mind that this is my only pair. I've worn them about 5 times now, and each time that I've worn them, it's been very muddy and raining. So field conditions have been pretty much ideal for this particular test, and that these shoes are now very, very dirty. Also keep in mind that I have not cleaned these since I first got them. So I'm going to kind of have a go at giving them a quick wash and see how well these actually clean up. Alright, in order to properly clean these things, you're really only going to need 3 different items. A bowl of water, a small towel or a big towel, whatever you got on hand, and a toothbrush. That's pretty much all you're going to need. So with that being said, let's get right into cleaning these things. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's really all I'm done. I'll dry them up and show you what they look like. Alright, so here's a look at the Obras after a quick clean. Honestly, I spent 5 minutes on each shoe. That was what I would consider to be a minimal effort cleaning. And for the most part, I'm really surprised by how well these actually clean up. Everything on the front, this main kind of pattern area on the upper that has that Nike skin covering, it's a completely smooth Nike skin covering, and it basically just doesn't stick to anything. So any dirt or stain that's on there, it rubs off very easily, like I said, with very minimal effort. Obviously the exposed Flyknit areas didn't fare quite as well, but at the same time they actually cleaned up pretty nicely. Again, surprising to me. I thought they were going to stain pretty easily, and yes, there are some stains on there, but again, I only spent 5 minutes on these shoes, and if you really worked it with that toothbrush, perhaps even use a little bit of dish soap, the outcome would be a lot different. You could get it looking very close to brand new. But like any pair of shoes, once you wear them in a lot of mud and rainy conditions, they're never going to look the same. It's not just the case for the Magista Obra. Like I said, it's pretty much the case with any pair of soccer cleats. So again, if you're not necessarily interested in something that isn't going to look brand new after you wear them in muddy conditions, then perhaps a light yellow colorway is not for you. Wait for a future colorway, hopefully a black based one, and that probably will fare a lot better in terms of looking newer longer. But overall, if you were worried about these things looking very dirty right off the bat, like I said, I had them pretty much as dirty as you could possibly make them, and they cleaned up pretty well. At least I'm happy with it. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of how these things clean up. But for the most part, if you're worried about them looking dirty for a long time, I wouldn't be. They clean up just as well as any other pair of soccer cleats. Are they waterproof/water resistant? Firstly, I just want to say that there's no such thing as a waterproof soccer cleat. That would imply that no matter how wet the conditions are, your feet are not going to get wet. And that's not the case, like I said, with any shoe that I've personally ever worn. What I would say is certain soccer shoes are water resistant up to a certain point. And in terms of playing in the wet in the Magista Obra, I was pleasantly surprised and actually very impressed at how dry they kept my feet. And I know that this is going to surprise a lot of people. Now, if you look at a standard soccer cleat design, the main reason why your feet get wet when you're playing in a very wet environment is that water leaks through either down the sides of the shoe or down the sides of where the laces go. And that's just something that is inevitable if you're playing in very wet conditions. With the Nike Magista Obra, this whole area on the front is covered in that Nike Skin material. So it's completely solid, water cannot seep through whatsoever. But of course the area on top of the tongue, or on top of the foot where the laces are, and then the collar area is made from like a sock-like fly knit material, which people would assume is going to allow water to flow right through. And that actually is not the case whatsoever. I think a lot of people don't understand that this fly knit material is a little bit thicker than you might expect. It's made out of several different layers, and because of those extra layers, that top layer on the outside might actually get wet, but it doesn't seep through to the inside of the shoe. And this fly knit material is not a super soft kind of absorbent type of cloth. It's a very stretchy kind of elasticated material. Because you have so many layers and because it's so tightly knit, again, water just does not seep through. And again, you don't have those openings on the sides for water to get in. So in terms of keeping my feet dry, I would say that the Magista Obra performed better than any other soccer shoe that I've personally ever worn, which again is going to surprise a lot of people. Do they work with all types of shin guards? If you're wearing a standard pair of shin guards that simply cover your shins and have no ankle protection at all, you're not going to have any issues with the Magista Obra. It's going to fit just fine. But if you're wearing shin guards that have the built-in ankle guard, there's a lot of extra bulk. It still fits, but it looks very awkward. It feels a little bit too tight just because it's stretching quite a bit to wrap over top of that ankle guard. And I'm not even wearing socks, so that would be an extra layer of material there. And again, it's definitely wearable. It doesn't necessarily look right. It doesn't necessarily feel right. And honestly, I would not recommend wearing these with a built-in ankle protection style of shin guard. I know a lot of people will also ask about the Storelli Body Shield leg guards. That's a fairly low-profile form of protection, and it doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to your ankle. So if you want to wear those with the Nike Magista, I would say go for it. But again, if you're wearing something with a bulky ankle guard, this is probably not the best option for you. Do they work with Trusox? Yep. Can you wear them without socks? You could if you wanted to, but it isn't something that I would personally recommend. The goal of the fly knit upper was to provide a sock-like fit and a sock-like level of comfort, not necessarily to replace the sock altogether. So again, if you're wearing these in game, most likely you're going to be wearing them with socks. So if you want to wear them without socks in training or something like that, I guess be my guest, but it isn't something that I honestly would recommend, and it actually will make the shoes stink a lot more than they have to. Does the mid-cut design feel weird? This is actually a really good question because most people are curious as to how it feels, simply because we've never really seen a mid-cut soccer shoe before. And to answer the question, does it feel weird? From a performance standpoint, I can honestly say that I put these shoes on, went and played. I didn't feel like the mid-cut design was interfering with my ability to control the ball, shoot the ball, or perform any skill, period. It just wasn't in the way. With that being said, did it feel a little bit strange to have a little bit of extra material wrapping my ankle? A little bit, yes, but it wasn't as extreme of a difference versus a low-cut shoe that I honestly was expecting. I guess it really depends on the thickness of your ankles. I would consider myself to have decently thick ankles, but even so, it doesn't necessarily squeeze my foot or squeeze my ankle area in any way at all, so it isn't uncomfortably tight. Again, that's going to vary from person to person, but for the most part, like I said, it really didn't bother me much. It didn't give that false sense of security that Nike is really touting with this mid-cut design, simply because, like I said, it isn't as tight as you might expect, and for the most part, it's not cut high enough to really be super noticeable and super restrictive, which is something I think a lot of people are worried about. It's just a compression sock on top of your standard socks, and it happens to be attached to the shoe, and I really wouldn't describe it as anything more than that. How thin or thick is the upper? In terms of thickness, the Flyknit upper is kind of difficult to explain, but what I can tell you is how it compares to other models in Nike's current lineup. If you were to compare it to the Nike skin found on the Hypervenom Phantom, the Flyknit upper on the Magista Obra is definitely thicker. It's also thicker than the Taitian synthetic found on the Mercurial Vapor 9, which you have to realize that the Flyknit upper on the Obra is actually made up of several different layers, plus a spongy liner that I talked about in my unboxing video on the inside of the shoe. So yes, it is on the thinner side. Yes, it is going to offer more of a barefoot feel with a slight amount of padding, not quite leather-like like what you're going to find from the Maestri 3 or even the Tiempo Legend 5, but definitely very unique, and it's kind of right in between what I would consider to be a padded upper and a thin upper. Are they durable? From my experiences so far, I haven't had any issues in regards to the overall durability. I think one thing that a lot of people have to wrap their head around, and I don't think they will until they actually see the shoe in person, is that the fly knit upper is not actually like a sock. It's not a thin, delicate piece of material. It's tightly woven, it's high quality, under high tension. It's basically knots across the entire shoe, and it's very, very solid. Like I've mentioned in the unboxing video, I would put more faith in the durability of the fly knit upper of the Obra than I would in the Tasian synthetic upper of the Vapor 9, as well as the Nike Skin upper of the Hypervenom Phantom. I really do believe in it that much. It's really well made. It feels solid on feet. It provides plenty of lateral stability, and when you put this shoe on, I think you'll realize that the quality of the shoe is definitely there. As far as that mid collar is concerned, I guess there is potential for it to possibly rip if you get studded on the side there, but again, I think it's highly unlikely, and you have to get caught just in the right way in order for it to rip, and even then I would say that it is very, very, very unlikely for that to happen. I've had no issues whatsoever, and I've actually been hitting the ankle several times. Again, please keep in mind that it is several layers of material, and the material is so tightly woven and so well made that, again, ripping and even just threads coming loose is highly, highly unlikely with the Magista Obra. Alright guys, that's it for my FAQ video on the Magista Obra. Hopefully this video answered most, if not all, of your questions around this particular shoe. But if there are questions that I missed that you would like answered, be sure to leave those down below in the comments, and I'll try to get an answer out to you. In fact, if there's enough questions, I might even make a part 2 FAQ on the Obra model as a whole. For more details on all of the tech specs, be sure to check out my unboxing video. And of course, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to support it with a like. As far as an update on the review is concerned, I'm in the process of wearing these things. Playtest video is coming. The problem has been the weather. It's been raining every single day and raining a lot, so I haven't really been able to get a camera outside and film. But as soon as I get a nice day, I will be filming a playtest video, so stay tuned for that. And I should have my full review of this guy up hopefully in the next week or so. Like I said, this is my top priority as far as reviews are concerned at this very moment. Other than that though guys, subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.